I'm gonna gamble no Vandal Blast and play this Dowsing Dagger. Equip the Dowsing Dagger. Pass like that. That's a Ruinous Ultimatum. Ooh. Today on Commander Replay, we find out if this Patreon-submitted Aurelia deck can survive double Ruinous Ultimatum. Next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, help support me and save 15% on singles by using the promo code REPLAY at mothershipatx.com. Commander Replay t-shirts, available in orange and colors beside orange. Welcome back everyone, playing some Aurelia the Warleader today. Today's deck list comes to us from Patreon supporter Jared. He calls it Immortal's Flight of the Firemane, and this is going to be an Angel Reanimator, very similar to the Angel Reanimator that I've been playing for years. He said it was heavily inspired by my deck list, so this deck will probably look very familiar. But he does have a couple new cards in the deck, so hopefully we can get a look at some of those today. But looking at this opening hand, I've already gone ahead and kept. We have one land and a mana crypt, but we do have a land tax, so that should be pretty good, actually. It does appear that we're going last in the turn order, so it should be pretty easy to get that land tax going. All it has to do is survive a turn. Although, I guess, with the Path of Ancestry, will come in tapped, so an untapped land off the top might be a good thing. Check the land count in this deck real quick. 36 lands. Any flip lands? Not seeing any flip lands offhand, so looks like 36 lands. Not too bad. When you have land tax and tithe and like other faithless looting and stuff like that, that's generally fine. There's a flawless maneuver, not the untapped land we were looking for, so I guess this hand might be like a touch slower than I had initially anticipated, but we'll get all that in and pass like that. Do pick up a flawless maneuver, will be super helpful, especially once our commander's in play. Protect ourselves from the board wipes. We'll take a peek over at the deck list. So here's the deck list. You'll notice really heavy on the 3-drops, and I have noticed that my own Angel deck has gotten pretty heavy on the 3-drops as well. So that's something that you want to manage very closely with this type of deck. There are just a lot of good 3-drops, and you got to really choose which ones you want, because the more 3-drops you have, that means you're not going to be able to have as many things at like 1 and 2 mana, so it can just get like weird and clunky. So personally, I would love to get rid of about 2 3-drops in this deck, and, you know, if you can get those earlier in the curve, or even at 4 or 5 mana, I'd probably put them there instead. But if the deck's running fine, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's only if you start running into, like, clunkiness issues and things like that, that I would pick that apart. As far as, like, new cards and changes to the deck, there is this deck of many things in the deck that looks very interesting. Would love to try that one out. There was a thorough investigation in the deck, but I literally couldn't find a copy on Magic Online, so I replaced that with a Hazardous Monument. Similar function, will help you loot a little bit better. There's also a Hoffrey in the deck, which is very interesting. That's one people have been asking me about. I would love to do a Hoffrey video sometime soon, just got to work it into the schedule, but that looks like a very interesting card for this deck. Also, Archaeomancer's map was in the deck, and I had to sub that out because it's not yet available on Magic Online. I put a Magmaquake in its place because I do know that we're going against a Planeswalker deck today, and having 2 board wipes that get rid of Planeswalkers is super, super helpful. So when Planeswalkers start showing up, you need to get them off the board. Aurelia generally pretty good at attacking them down, but if they hold up spot removal, that can be an issue, and that's where those board wipes going to come in handy. So, did have to tinker with the deck just slightly, based on some availability issues and things like that. But other than that, you'll see a bunch of Angels up here at the top. These all look very similar to the Angels that I'm running. You do run into this problem now of, like, there are too many good 7-drop Angels, and you have to make some really difficult choices. I noticed that I haven't even been able to get Sephara into my deck list, and Sephara is a very good Angel, so, you know what I mean? Like, that's the quality of creature that's not making the cut. That's how you know it's really, really crowded, and just a lot of available options. So anyway, yeah, that's a deck list. We'll bounce back to the game. Opponent's got some stuff going over there, so they dropped a Mana Crypt on their first turn. They've now got a Commander Sphere and followed it up with a Scrapyard Recombiner. It's got modular, sacrifice an artifact, search your library for a construct card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Seems pretty good. Brings back to our turn. There's a Mana Crypt. Would love a land off the top. Let's go Tails. Lost the flip. Not a land off the top. Card we can cast though, so that's still something. Play the land tax and play the Pyre of Heroes, and we'll pass like that. So, as always, Aurelia the Warleader, 6 mana, 3/4, Flying Vigilance, Haste. When it untacks, untap each creature you control. There's an additional combat step. My favorite commander. Something that I've been thinking about a little bit more lately about Aurelia is that Her abilities have still held up really well through the changing landscape of Commander. Her biggest drawback right now is just that she's 6 mana, and, you know, as the game keeps getting faster and more efficient, that can be a little bit of an issue sometimes. But the second you get into, like, the mid or late game, Aurelia is just... her abilities are just so incredibly good. And it's the type of thing where, like, because creatures are getting stronger, they've really pushed creatures lately, that kind of makes her get a little bit better over time in the sense that she allows you to power up your creatures even more. So, unlike a lot of commanders from the, like, 2010 to 2013 era, I think Aurelia's actually gotten a little bit better, where a lot of the commanders from that period of time have kind of fallen off a little bit. And it's not to say that you can't make good decks with them, just that their abilities maybe don't hold up as well as they used to in the new landscape of Commander. Guild Globe. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Sacrifice it, add 2 mana of different colors. It's not bad. It's not necessarily the first thing that I would go for, but if you're building like a 5-color deck on a budget, colorless mana fixing is a big deal. You don't always have green mana to cast a Cultivate or a Kodama's Reach or something like that, and stuff like this can be really, really helpful. Obviously, it makes sense in a Glissa deck because it's something you could sacrifice and get it back and do all that stuff, and gives you more card draw, so pretty cool there. Firemaker did drop in an Archon of Absolution on their turn. Flying pro-white, creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless they pay 1 for each of those creatures. Ghostly Prison type effects, very good against Aurelia. You gotta pay for each combat. Tends to be a lot of mana to do that. So that's one that we'd like to get off the board. Also, that's going to protect their planeswalkers. They're piloting Garth the One-Eyed today, and they did say this would be a planeswalker deck. Garth the One-Eyed, very interesting card. Out of Modern Horizons 2. 5 mana, 5/5. Tap it, choose a card name that hasn't been chosen from among Disenchant, Brain Geyser, Terror, Shivan Dragon, Regrowth, and Black Lotus. Create a copy of the card with the chosen name. You may cast the copy. That is spicy. I have not yet had a chance to play with this, but the mere fact that it makes copies of a Black Lotus is pretty exciting. Black Lotus, a card that most of us have not been able to play with. I did get to play a proxy once in a Vintage tournament that I played in a long time ago. I got crushed really hard because it was a Vintage tournament. But yeah, Garth, really cool. Allows you to cast cards out of Alpha, essentially, or copies of cards out of Alpha. So I'm very curious to see where this deck goes and see what Garth looks like in play. Svella, Ice Shaper Giant coming in. Cool. Next up in the middle, we've got Glissa the Traitor being piloted by Eric, and it's got First Strike Death Touch. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you may return target artifact from your graveyard to your hand. Basically turns into a black-green egg style deck where you're just recycling a lot of artifacts and doing some crazy kind of stuff. It's a really cool value commander. Anyway, it brings us back to our turn. Mana Crypt, Land Tax going on the stack. Get those sweet, sweet Land Tax lands. We'll go for all 3. Get 2 plains and a mountain. Let's go Tails, 1 the flip. And 4th land, yep. Yep, Magic Online. I tried to test this out one time and didn't quite get the results that I thought I would with the... if you grab 3 with land tax, it almost always feels like you draw land per turn. And I've kind of gotten screwed in the sense that, like, if you only draw lands the rest of the game, it's kind of a problem. So, I don't know. It's a hard thing to test, though. Especially because the amount of cards left in your deck matters quite a bit. Anyway, with all of that, let's drop this plains into play. Let's get a creature, because next turn we can put a Feast and Famine on it, and that seems like a pretty good idea. I think what we'll do right here is cast this Righteous Valkyrie, because we can scry one, and make sure that we don't draw land next turn. Hazoret's Monument is a pretty cool card, so we're going to keep that right there, and remember not to use land tax, and then probably use it the turn after that, because then we can start cycling lands and stuff like that, and that should be pretty cool. Righteous Valkyrie, I don't think it's made it into my list. It's not in my paper list, because I don't think I have one in paper, but it may have been in and out of the digital version of my Angel deck. But does a lot of cool stuff for 3 mana, and importantly, you can put swords on it, and it's an Angel that's low on the curve, which there are not a lot of great Angels that are low on the curve, so when you're trying to get that early game value via the swords, this is a nice little option to do it. But it says, when an angel or cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to its toughness. As long as you have at least 7 more life than your starting life total, creatures you control have +2/+2. That's not a difficult thing to get to with a deck like this. If you have something with lifelink in play, it'll be really easy to get that bonus with Aurelia. Attack twice. Something as simple as a Baneslayer Angel will get you there. Maybe a reason to add Sephara into the deck, because Sephara also has lifelink. Things to think about. Kaya, Bane of the Dead. Sure, I'm not going to like this. Your opponents and permanents your opponents control with hexproof can be the target of spells or abilities as though they did not have hexproof. Doesn't affect us yet, but, you know, that's still not great. And they can exile target creature. Which creature would they like to exile? Goes for the Scrapyard Recombiner. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess they can sacrifice it in response, so I don't know if they have that planned out. But I thought it was still summoning sick, but it must have been in for a turn, and I just must have missed it. So, whoopsie from opponent. Our final opponent, by the way, is Sherry piloting Esika, God of the Tree, with the Prismatic Bridge on the other side. I assume that they're playing the Prismatic Bridge side, because that's generally what people do. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or a Planeswalker card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom in a random order. Basically, get something for free every turn. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. A lot of nasty things to be doing with that deck. Treasure Keeper coming in. When it dies, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card with mana 3 or less. Cast that card without paying its mana cost. Rest on the bottom. And Cabal Coffer's coming in for opponent. No Urborg yet. And they have 0 swamps, so that could be a little awkward until the Urborg comes down. Sakashima the Imposter. Yeah, let's see what this goes after. Archon's a reasonable target right here. They go for a second Svella Ice Shaper. Yeah. What does this thing even do? Pay 3, tap it, create a colorless snow artifact token named Icy Manalith. Or pay 8, look at the top 4 cards of your library, cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Rest on the bottom. Okay, yeah. I think it's all Prismatic Bridge stuff. Not entirely sure why they would need 2 of these, though, since it's like, those are very expensive abilities to activate. I don't know. Brings back to our turn, Mana Crypt Land Tax. We need to go negative on the Land Tax because we have that Hazardous Monument waiting for us. No. We lost the flip. There's the Hazardous Monument. Let's play a mountain just to get a mountain in play. Play the Feast and Famine. Equip the Feast and Famine. Hey, let's find out who wants it. Ooh, we can't go into the Planeswalker deck because we don't have mana. Well, Eric called not it, so guess we're going over to Sherry with this first one. So we send it over. Opponent takes the Feast and Famine hit. They will discard. We will untap. They discard a Kakusho. Yeah, glad to get rid of that. We'll drop in this Hazardous Monument. And then next turn we can get all the lands with land tax, and as we start casting creatures. And then we can loot with the Hazardous Monument, and that should be pretty cool. So that was a decent turn right there. Feast and Famine, always good. So we'll pass like that. I'm sure we just made some enemies at the table, though. The good news so far is that the Feast and Famine can protect the Angel from the Kaya. However, if they have removal on the Feast and Famine, which is a thing that's pretty likely to happen if they do, then they can just exile it afterwards. That's a Field of the Dead coming in for opponent. Ugh, 5 lands, getting close. Archangel of Ties, gross. Oh, it's going to be so much mana to attack over there. This one also protects Planeswalkers. You have to pay 1 for each attacker, so total cost is up to 2. There are some board wipes in this deck, so once we find those, we can clear everything out. We'll be really good with the Flawless Maneuver. Do the whole one-sided board wipe thing. Assuming that we untap with all of our permanents, I think an interesting choice that we'll have is whether to discard this Acroma with a Hazardous Monument with the hopes of pulling it out with the Emeria Shepherd. There's Inventor's Fair and Mana Vault for opponent. Gets a Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, which will help with the Cabal Coffers. It can make some type of mana now. Also helps with their colors a bit. Looks like they do have a lot of colorless lands in play, so. Check out the Angel package real quick again, just because we have the Pyre of Heroes. So we have Acroma, we have Avacyn, and we do have Rhea up at the top. Those are things you want to keep in mind. We do not have all 3 Acromas, so we can't do Acromatron. We have a reasonable chance to do Brizella. We could sacrifice the Righteous Valkyrie, get Gisela, and then cast Aurelia, sacrifice Aurelia, get Bruna. Then we've got ourselves a Brizella. That is always a fun time. It's not something that I've been able to do much. Pyre of Heroes makes it a lot easier. After years of playing this deck without Pyre of Heroes, I think it came up like one time. It's just so hard to put those 2 cards together. Especially, I wasn't running like Thalia's Lancers or anything for a long time. That would have made it a little bit easier. But yeah, the cards from Kaldheim have helped this deck so much. You get Pyre of Heroes, you get Search for Glory. Those are 2 really big pieces for this deck. Especially when you're trying to find like certain things. Check out the Reanimation package real quick also. No Miraculous Recovery. Looks like just the creature versions of Reanimation. Doesn't look like any of the sorceries or Martial's Anthem. Opponent gets themselves a Wayfarer's Bauble. Sure. Another Planeswalker coming in. That's a Vraska Golgari Queen. Destroy target non-land permanent with mana value 3 or less. What'd they destroy? Anything? Or did they plus it? Oh, they must have plussed it. Sacrifice another permanent. If you do gain a life, draw a card. Oh, yeah, they sacrificed the Mana Vault. Okay, I see. That thing does have the ability to kill our Feast and Famine, though, which I do not love. So, brings back to our turn. Mana Crypt, land tax. Use the land tax again this time. We'll get 3 lands. Let's go Tails. 1 the flip. Ooh, that's a Sword of the Animist. I was going to cast Aurelia this turn. I might still cast Aurelia and wait on the Sword of the Animist. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I think I'm going to go on the Aurelia right here, as good as Sword of the Animist is. I've got a thing that I want to do. So we need to get a 4th color into play. We'll play the Plains, work toward Emeria. We will cast Aurelia. It's going to be awkward because we don't have 1 colorless floating. Cast Aurelia, Hazard's Monument. Oh, we also get to Scry. Put Hazard's Monument on the bottom, with the Scry on top. Dowsing Dagger is also a cool magic card. Keep that on top. Next turn will probably be the big ramp turn. We can discard a card. We will discard a mountain. This also turns on free casting of Flawless Maneuver, which I do like, and we're going to gain some life. Let's go to combat. Eric's taken this hit. Going to send the Valkyrie to his face and the Aurelia to the Vraska. If all goes well here, this should untap the lands, which would then allow us to attack into Firemaker. There's the Feast and Famine hit. Problem is, this thing can destroy our Feast and Famine, which I do not love. They discard a Junk Diver. Firemaker can have this hit. It will cost us 2. And I think Aurelia back to the Vraska. Yeah, we'll pay 2 to attack. He's going to block. Okay, yeah. Oh, he's going to double block. Well, we can't kill both of them. We can kill one. Oh, it's got pro white? Well, we can only... May have miscalculated that. Huh. Yep. I don't know why I forgot about the fact that they could just block. All right, then. So we're going to needlessly lose our Righteous Valkyrie. The sword falls off, which means in the second main we should put the sword back on Aurelia so it doesn't get exiled. Yeah, that was a whoopsie. And I think I am going to discard the Achroma and have it on hand for the Emeria Shepherd. Yeah, the pro-white blocker, actually kind of a problem for this deck. There is a Hearthenhome in the deck, so we can get pro-white, which would be super, super helpful. Garth the One-Eyed coming in. There's their commander. Oh, they can make a disenchant with that? Ugh, gross. The life gain on this thing is also really good. There's just a lot of reasons you want to keep your life total high now. The one that always comes to mind for me is Torment of Hailfire. If you have a really high life total, it's hard for them to kill you with a Torment of Hailfire. There are other ways to play around it too, but just having a lot of life is a good one, and one that's very easy to attain with this particular deck, so... And beside the fact of just also like random attackers and things like that too, mana crypts that are going to burn your life, so that life gain, pretty cool. Wouldn't mind getting that Valkyrie back at some point. Divining Top for opponent. Gonna take a look with the top. We have a choice this turn, I think, between Sword of the Animist or Emeria Shepherd. It does take 8 mana to cast and equip both of these, which we don't have. So maybe we go Dowsing Dagger first. Take a peek at our 7 drops again. Make sure we know what we have we can go get. One's going to send their Treasure Keeper into the Kaya. Yeah, they'll pay. In all likelihood, this will die and they'll get a free cast off something. And they just looked with their Divining Top, so they might know what that thing is. They block. Treasure Keeper dies. There's a Lotus Petal. Are they stuck on colors? Is that what's happening? Figured they may have tried to get their commander in or something. Unless they're just kind of slow rolling a board wipe, maybe. I don't know. Notably, Flawless Maneuver not in my Angel deck currently, though it probably should be. Really, the issue is there's just too many cards that I want to put in the deck, and this is a very good one. But there's a lot of other fun things, too, like Molten Echoes. It's not necessarily the best card for the deck, but it's fun, and you can do some silly things with it. So, you know, you have a lot of choices about, like, what you want for utility and stuff like that. And also, I think I only have 1 Flawless Maneuver in paper, and I think it's somewhere else. So, Sky Shroud Claim for opponent. There's some much-needed ramp for them. Opponent's going to create an Icy Manalith with the Sphella Ice Shaper Giant. Sure. It'd be funny to make a deck that just, like, makes infinite Manaliths. That'd be silly. What do? You probably need colors outside of red-green to do it if you can get, like, a Zerta. You need a Zerta and a way to untap it. Opponent cracks their Wayfarer's Bauble. Gonna go get a land. It's starting to get up there with mana now. They'll probably be able to activate that big ability pretty soon. It is still reasonably early. It's turn 6 right now. But if a board wipe happens, then, you know, Things can get weird really quickly, especially with a Planeswalker deck. Trample. It doesn't grant trample, does it? No, but trample from this would actually be pretty helpful to our cause. Mana Crypt and Land Tax brings it back to our turn. I think I'm just going to do one with the Land Tax. You want to be careful with the Sword of the Animus. You want to leave some lands in the deck to be able to get them out when you need them. So only 3 planes left in the deck. I'm just going to get a single mountain right here. Because Sword of the Animus with Ameria Shepherd and Aurelia, you want to leave planes in your deck for that. So, ooh, we draw a Steel Shaper's Gift, you say? We can get the Pro White Sword. That's a thing that we can do. I've been wanting to do that. Might be tough to get everything equipped, though. Ooh, the Pro White Sword goes infinite kind of quickly with Aurelia, doesn't it? That is a thing that it does do. Let's play a mountain, saving the planes for Ameria Shepherd. I think I want to be on the equipment plan this turn. Yeah, let's get the Steel Shaper's Gift. I really do want to attack Firemaker. The Pillow Fort over there is kind of serious. He will probably dismantle us a little bit, too, with the Garth. I mean, we're almost definitely going to lose the Feast and Famine. But if we get this Hearth and Home right here, now we give him 2 targets, and then life is kind of difficult. Awkward mana usage right here. Play the Hearth and Home, equip the Hearth and Home. Ironically, blinking the Aurelia will... actually, I guess you don't have to blink it. Will unequip the swords. All right, we still got to pay 2 to attack. All right, well. Sorry, Eric. Got to send this thing somewhere. Really wanted to flip the Dowsing Dagger this turn, but do think we need that Hearth and Home. Yeah, we're not going to blink anything. Let's read this again. Exile up to 1 target creature you own, then search your library for a basic card. Put both cards on the battlefield under your control. You still get the land if you don't exile, right? I hope so. Totally did that in the wrong order. Oh, does that put it in untapped? I think it puts it in untapped. Get the mountain. Again, saving the plains. And this is where your basic land count really matters. Hadn't even thought about it with Hearth and Home yet. Like, you probably need to cut some dual lands from your deck, honestly, if you have like all the fetches and stuff, just to make sure you have enough basics to power up Sword of the Animist and Ameria Shepherd. Back to combat. We have 6 total mana left. We'll attack into Firemaker this time. Actually, you know, I think I really just want to get this Kaya off. Does an additional untap and land do that much for us? Not really. I think I want to kill this Kaya before the other Planeswalkers start showing up. We'll use the red mana right here. Kaya goes down. I'm going to gamble no Vandal Blast and play this Dowsing Dagger. We'll give Sherry some tokens. Actually, I guess we could have given Eric some tokens. Equip the Dowsing Dagger. Pass like that, we've got a 9/9 Aurelia. Man, if we reanimate that Achroma, it will be giant. Garth the One-Eyed, yeah, I imagine this has to be the Disenchant. They gotta blow something up over here. Goes for the Black Lotus, wants the mana. Let's see what they can do with the mana. That's a Ruinous Ultimatum. Ooh. Ouch. Well, now that Ameria Shepherd's gonna have a lot of work to do. Ouch. We can save Aurelia, which we should probably do. Yeah, because we still have the Sword of the Animist. Does it make sense to save Aurelia? We're gonna lose all of our artifacts, and we're gonna have to probably spend a lot of effort getting those artifacts back. Ooh. We should probably keep Aurelia. Believe it or not, we are just getting to our 7th turn, so we're not even going to be able to cast. We won't be able to cast and landfall the Ameria Shepherd all at once. Ugh. Opponent draws a card with Commander's Fear after looking with the top. Yeah, I think we flawless maneuver right here. I think we need to keep something in play. Yep, all of our artifacts getting crushed. Ouch. Ouch. We need a Soul Ring off the top just to get to Ameria Shepherd and landfall the first thing. Marchesa's Decree. Oh, God. So opponent's playing, looks like straight Pillow Fort over there. They become the Monarch. Be tough to wrestle the Monarch away from them in this moment. Noxious Revival for opponent. Didn't see what they put on top. Guild Globe back on top. So just trying to get some cards, I think. It was weird that Glissa never came in. If Glissa came in, they would have gotten all that stuff back, which is kind of strange to me. I think they had the colors at one point with the Guild Globe. There's a Terrarion. Comes in tapped. Divining Top back to play. Yeah, there's a Prismatic Bridge. Let the free stuff start rolling in. Slayer's Stronghold. Well, it's a land we can play that is not a plains, so I guess that's fine. Play the Slayer's Stronghold. I'm actually tempted to go Sword of the Animist. No. Maybe we'll use it for 1. We could use a little bit of ramp. Although, I'm thinking about all the stuff we got to get back. We can attack it over there, but then they just block and probably kill it. It's not ideal. I guess the question is also, do they disenchant the sword or the bridge? Yeah, we'll use the first Sword of the Animist. Get a plains. This is where the land tax might like hurt us a little bit, just because We have 3 lands in hand. I'd prefer these were back in the deck, honestly. I think I'm just going to pump up the damage on Aurelia right here. Nothing else to do with the mana. I was thinking about just holding up 3 to feign it to Fairy's protection, but we actually don't have that much in play worth saving. So, you know, having our board just been cleared out doesn't really seem like it's worth the bluff. So we get an extra land. We'll attack Sherry this time. Spread the damage around. I'm going to take a calculated risk here and go no on the Sword of the Animist. I really want to keep those lands in the deck for a Maria Shepherd. So opponents go down to 25 and 26, 13 commander and 6 commander. So hope all this stuff survives back to our turn, and then on our turn, we can potentially get 3 things back with the Amaria Shepherd, and that's very exciting. Which 3 things? Probably got to start with a Feast and Famine. Mana Crypt is certainly a contender. Dousing Dagger is one to think about. Chroma is cool. That's a Terror. Where is this going? Probably on Aurelia. Yep, on the Aurelia. Wonderful. Wonderful. Graveyard? Graveyard, play a Plains. Yeah, I think we're going to the graveyard. So now it's play a Maria Shepherd, play a Plains, get Aurelia, equip Sword of the Animus, get probably Feast and Famine, and something else. Almost kind of feel like we need the Hazardous Monument just because we're running low on cards. Sarkhan the Masterless coming in. Whenever a creature attacks you or a Planeswalker you control deals 1 damage to that creature. Well, getting to a point like a creature board wipe from someone else would be super helpful for what we're doing right now. To clear all this stuff out. Opponent cracks the Terrarion, draws a card. Glissa finally coming in. And Ichor Wellspring. They draw a card. See what nastiness is going to show up from this Prismatic Bridge. They get themselves Godzilla, King of Monsters. Lethal damage dealt to your creatures is determined by their power rather than their toughness. Not bad. Not bad. Basically anything that isn't a Vorinclex or a Jin-Gitaxias is good news off of this Prismatic Bridge. Void Winnower, also terrible. Avacyn, kind of nasty. There's a Gisela. Those are good. Kind of puts us into a precarious spot. We have only a Sword of the Animist in play. Opponent starting to get a number of creatures over there. Doubles the damage off Sarkhan. It's all not great stuff. Also means we can't really attack in there profitably. Wheel of Misfortune. That's an interesting card. I mean, we definitely need to do the Amaria Shepherd thing this turn. There's no question about that. So, next turn, though, Wheel of Misfortune. Sounds like it could be pretty good. Make sure we use the Scryland. I often forget to do that. Cast Amaria Shepherd. Scry. Gaia Reach Sanitarium. Not what we need. Put it on the bottom. Play a Plains. Get back Aurelia to the battlefield. Put a sword on it. Ooh, that would kill Eric because that would be 8 commander damage. Well, that's interesting. I had not planned for that. I guess that's what has to happen. Aurelia, Sword of the Animus trigger. Get a Plains. Bring back... Probably going to need blockers because of the Gisela, so I'm thinking a Chroma. It's also like our biggest mana value type thing to get, so get that. We go back to combat. Aurelia gets bigger. Do we Suicide Aurelia into the Gisela to get back a sword? Thinking about it. Pyre could also be interesting. Yeah, I think we will. Sword of the Animus trigger. Get our last Plains. Get the Feast and Famine, I guess. Send that to the battlefield. Opponent just takes. I mean, it's only 2 damage, so I guess they don't care that much, but I think they're wanting help against what's going on over here. And by killing Aurelia, we can't pressure them nearly as much, so I think that's their goal here. Opponent can activate that Garth. See what they get this time. Oh god, Regrowth. Really? Is that what we're doing? Get back Ruinous. Yep, get back Ruinous. That's disgusting. Field of the Dead. Hopefully they don't have the colors. Pretty close. I think they have... Yep, there it is. Wow, that hurts so much. Back to the command zone. Now we're just on Wheel of Misfortune. We really need a Magma... not even Magma Quake. Magma Quake doesn't get the flyers. Hour of Rev. Hour of Rev would be fantastic here. Yep, everything our way. Alright, Regrowth. Garth, kind of OP. Ruinous Ultimatum. I guess there's been just, like, not removal this game, which has been a thing. Opponent draws with the Monarch at the end step. Yep. We love a board wipe right here. Coma. Oh, God. Ugh. Disgusting. Yep, they make a token. Search for Glory is a magic card. How much mana do we have? I think enough to go Search for Glory, Amaria Shepherd, get something back. Let's do it. Search for Glory. Deck of Many Things is interesting. Could go for that. A Chroma is interesting. Avacyn is interesting. What can we do with Feldon? Is there anything really interesting we can do with that? We could get Feldon. Cast Feldon. Oh, it's a tap ability. I don't know that we'll be able to get that off in time. Yeah, so I think just Bruna. Get Bruna. Cast Bruna. We get to scry 1 and we get to bring something back. Bring back an Ameria Shepherd. Scry 1, it's a Doomscar. We do need a Doomscar, as a matter of fact, so keep that on top. Play a Plains. Ooh, you know what we could do right here? Because we have Doomscar on top, I think I'm going to go Pyre of Heroes. Oh no, because if we sacrifice, it'll shuffle. But we have a Wheel of Misfortune coming. So yeah, let's go Pyre of Heroes to the battlefield. Sacrifice Bruna. Get Avacyn. And that really cuts down on the amount of removal that should be able to interact with us. Just getting back the Ruinous Ultimatum won't blow us out like it has been, so that's a thing. Still got to worry about just being attacked, but Field of the Dead. Opponents on such high life right now, they can pay a lot more than we can into a Wheel of Misfortune. And everyone's low on cards, so like this is the time where Wheel is not the best. Oh, you want what we can do? We can go Mountain, get Bruna back to our hand, recast Bruna, get a Chroma. It's not awful. Also thinking about this Righteous Valkyrie, actually, just because I would love to get some life back. Oh, that's an Ugin. Well, Ugin can't exile Avacyn. Can get rid of the Ameria Shepherd, which is annoying. Gets rid of Coma, which solves the problem for us. Also clears out their board. Oh, they're gonna plus. Okay. Well, we have a teeny bit of time on that. Not a lot, but very small amount. Maybe we'll go Wheel of Misfortune first, because we'll likely draw a land with that. And then we can get back the other stuff. The Archangel of Tithes makes it difficult to block. Opponent probably has like near lethal on us. Sending in the Archon, it's got pro white. Okay. Can't do much about that. If opponent wanted to tap down that Archangel for us, we'd actually have a little bit of a path in over here now. There's a 4/4 flyer right there that can block, but if nothing else, I'd like to at least eat some tokens. Another token for opponent. At some point, that's going to be an issue because they can just tap down all of our stuff. And that is really bad. There's an Angel of Serenity in the deck, which also means that Aurelia, use Pyre, get Angel is a reasonable line of play. And get rid of the stuff that opponent scoops, they had to leave. That is really bad for our Wheel of Misfortune. Opponent can pay so much more life. That's a Wheel of Fortune. Okay, that helps. Do we play the Mountain first? No. Yeah, just go straight for the Wheel of Fortune. Well, the other thing to think about, too, is if we want to do the other thing with Aurelia that we talked about, Angel of Serenity, getting rid of a bunch of stuff would be a really good idea. On the other hand, we have an Avacyn, so if we just catch, like, Hour of Rev, life is good. Yeah, let's go for the Wheel of Fortune. There's some lands. There's a Gisela, which is super helpful. Dawnbreak Reclaimer is also very helpful. How much mana do we actually have? That's 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll have 10 mana. Oh, hey, you know what problem we have now? Ugin is big enough to exile Avacyn, so we should probably try to deal with that. So I think I'm on the Aurelia Angel of Serenity plan. We get to scry 1, but we're going to shuffle here. And there's that Doomscar. We'll keep it right there, see what happens. Yeah, that Doomscar would have been super helpful. Play the Sunhome. We can get something back. You know what we can get? We can get a Mana Crypt. That's kind of just something free we can drop down. Return the Mana Crypt. Nothing to do with 2 mana, so we'll hold it till next turn. But activate the Pyre of Heroes. Sacrifice Aurelia. Yeah, we'll go to the command... Are we going to the command zone? We have a Dawnbreak Reclaimer. Let's go to the command zone, just in case stuff doesn't hold up. We could also get Sarah's Emissary, which... No, we gotta get rid of that Ugin. So, Angel of Serenity. Exiling... Oh, that one's got Pro White. No. Ugin's gonna crush us. The Pro White's gonna get us. Get that, and that. Oh, we have the Mana Crypt. Oh, we can pay. Play the Mana Crypt. Play the Mana Crypt. And now we go to combat. Everything at Ugin. Do not want to mess around with that. Pay 2. Yeah, getting back that Mana Crypt. So helpful. Oh, God. 2 Sarkhan triggers, 2 Marchesa triggers. Life is getting low. Ugin goes down. Next turn, most definitely Gisela, probably Dawnbreak Reclaimer. Or we could think about, like, Gisela into Aurelia, but Aurelia is going to be 10 mana. So that's a bit. We have 15 mana in play, we'll have 16. That'll not be enough to get Aurelia and Gisela. So probably Gisela, land... Maybe it's time to get back the Righteous Valkyrie. Drop that in first. Opponent getting some landfall triggers, building up the zombie army. I mean, they can still keep poking us with this. If they find, like, damage in a few spots, it could be a problem for us. Ooh, I think there's still dual lands in the deck. If we can crack and get a dual land with the Flooded Strand, that seems really good. There's a Sacred Foundry, and they have a Plateau. Okay, I missed that last turn. Probably could have had a bigger turn last turn with that, but everything worked out so far. Hopefully they don't just find a way to kill us, but... Oh, I think I've got a plan. I think I have a plan. Hopefully the opponent doesn't have anything crazy. Bolas? Okay, it's a Bolas. We will discard a card. It'll be the Myriad Landscape, since we are out of basics, and it comes in tapped. Is there an exile mode on that? Put target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield. Okay, yeah. That could be kind of nasty. We have nasty things in our graveyard. What do they have? A creature or planeswalker. Ugh. Ugin. So, I mean, if they do Ugin and go for 7, yeah, they're going to get Ugin. Are they going for 7? That'll clear out a lot of their stuff. They're going to make a 4/4. Or they're just going to plus the Ugin. Keep poking us to death. Yeah, they're going to plus the Ugin. Ugh, that puts us in a bad spot again. They have 2 flying blockers, although they probably need to hold the pro-white back if they want to be able to defend the Ugin. And that's what they're going to do. Brings back to our turn. There's a mana crypt flip. Ooh, we getting low on life. Would love to get this Gisela into play. Tails? Lost. Ouch. Felden is interesting. What's in our graveyard? 2 legendary angels in our graveyard. Definitely need to get a Gisela. Like, that 100% needs to happen. Okay, so it's going to be play this Flooded Strand, get Righteous Valkyrie, return to the hand, cast Righteous Valkyrie, crack Flooded Strand, get a Plateau. Ooh, we have a couple planes we can get. That's good. A Chroma, probably? Pro-White Sword? Potentially. I think a Chroma. I feel like that does too much right here. To the battlefield. Triggers the Righteous Valkyrie. We'll gain some life back, which we badly need. We have 13 mana left. We could go Gisela and Sunhome, or Gisela Dawnbreak Proclaimer. Although, I guess, are there any big angels left? No big angels left. Bruna, I guess. Bruna's alright. So the question is, do we try to go for the kill right here? Because with Gisela, that's a lot of damage. They can block 2. Oh, we could really use some lifelink. Lyra. Lyra is what we need. Don't have a way to get to it easily, though. So, like, they block the big one. Then they block the next biggest one, which is probably a Chroma. Then they would take 10, 18. I mean, it looks like we'll probably still have to go after Ugin then. Well, that one's got Trample. So that one's not going to be as easy to block. Yeah, get Gisela in. Oh, we can double strike something. Who else has Trample? I think just a Chroma has Trample. Let's get Gisela, because that also keeps us safe. We get to scry one. Oh, it's Lyra. Can we get to that card? Do we have a way to loot? I am not seeing one. Righteous Valkyrie, we gain more life. Up to 18. Let's haste the Achroma. Go to combat. Oh, right, Achroma's going to make stuff huge. I did forget about that. This is getting +2. I don't think it's... I don't know what it's getting. Oh, it's from the Slayer Stronghold. Okay. Okay, we have 4 attackers. If they blocked 4 of that, that would still get through for 4. That one's going to get blocked there. Okay, so at the Ugin, all that damage will be doubled. So even if they block 4, that'll still get through for 8. Ugin's at 1. If they block this somewhere... let's try to get this Bolus out of play. How many of these things have Vigilance? Because we don't want to be overly exposed. We'll have a couple blockers. Oh, we have to pay 4? Okay, looks like we can only attack with 3. Right, that thing's still in play. Send this at Ugin. Send that at Ugin. And then 1 to the face. And we'll pay the 3. Oh, God. Well, the Sarkin ones will get reduced to 0. But we're still going to lose 3 life to the Decree. But I think we'll get the Monarch at the end step. We get Lyra back next turn, do some serious stuff. Opponent trying to figure out their blocks. So Chroma's going to trample over, gets blocked by the dragon, puts Ugin to 1. Which is probably actually better than killing it, because like if they have ways to get it back, now all they can do is plus the Ugin, and as long as Avicen's in play, that won't really matter too much. We steal the Monarch, we draw Lyra at the end step. That's all good news. Lyra is exactly what we want. Opponent does have a fresh 7 after the wheel, though, so let's see what kind of removal they have. Let's see what they can do. We're not out of the woods yet. Our life is still a bit low. Now, if they come up with like a Swords or a Path, oh, there's a Wanderer. Yeah, they can start this daisy chain of stuff. So, Exile and Avicen. Yep, Avicen down. That's what I was worried about. They can do 10 damage with the Bolas. They'll lose the Bolas if they do it, though. 10 becomes 5 with the Gisela. Still kills enough of our things that it's an issue. That's a Decree of Pain. That is not ideal. Opponent gets their things back to the hand with Angel of Serenity. This is where you probably need like a mass reanimate, and I don't know that there's any of those in the deck. Opponent Fields of the Dead gets 2 lands back, draws 2 cards with the Bolas, 3 damage to our face, down to 12. Yeah, we got to be careful again. Oh god, there's a lethal attack. Wow, Xaxes. Yeah, they got us. What could we have done differently? We could have attacked the Ugin right there and made sure Ugin died, and that probably keeps us alive. Yeah, that is unfortunate. Very little removal this game. That was the key. Like, a single board wipe that would have gotten rid of that Archon at some point earlier in the game would have just made things a lot better, because we weren't able to put any damage on them. Their life was so high going into these last 2 turns that, like, we couldn't alpha strike them with what we had. And, you know, if their life is just lower and they're not pillow forted to the end of time, then we're able to get there so much easier. So just didn't draw the removal when we needed it. And I think there's enough in the deck. Magma Quake, Blasphemous Act. This doesn't handle the flyers, but it's good against the Planeswalkers. Would have been helpful at some point. Blasphemous Act, Hour of Rev, Austere Command, Doomscar. A Chroma's Will would have been super helpful at some point. We just kind of missed the cards we needed when we needed them. And I mean, even Tibolt's Trickery against the Ruinous Blast, against the Ruinous Ultimatum would have been helpful. We had the tools, we just weren't able to find them in time. I feel like we drew a little bit weird in the sense that we did not run into basically any of our removal. We had the Doomscar on top a couple times and then it got shuffled, but after the wheel, I would have figured that we would have ran into at least one, and just didn't happen that way. So, I mean, overall, the deck's in great shape. We just got hammered by double Ruinous Ultimatum. That's a hard thing to deal with. All things considered, I'd say we rebuilt pretty well. Opponents also didn't pressure the Planeswalkers very much, so, you know, in some sense, it was almost kind of like a 1v1 from the get-go, just because opponents were a little bit dirtily this game and not having a ton of impact on stuff. Overall, I'm surprised about how little removal was played in the game, because there was definitely a turn where everyone else was empty and a board wipe would have been perfect against the Planeswalker opponent. So, but that did not pan out. Hoffrey would have been cool at the end. A lot of things that would have been great, we just didn't catch them. What I wanted to do on our last turn also was use Pyre of Heroes, sacrifice the Righteous Valkyrie to get Gisela, which would have been a lifelinking blocker, although I think there was a board wipe. So, yeah, I don't know. We could have made different decisions, but we had the tools, just didn't find them when we needed them. So, one other thought. I think this deck, you want just a touch more reanimation in the deck. Either a Miraculous Recovery or a Marshal's Anthem. Miraculous Recovery is good for getting back a single key piece, notably at the end step. This is a game where Marshal's Anthem would have been really good, because we could have pulled a bunch of things out of the graveyard, and you know, that ability to rebuild is super, super helpful. We did pretty well with the Emeria Shepherd, but once Emeria Shepherd gets kind of messed up, things become a lot harder after that, and that's where you might just want something else to reanimate a little bit better. I saw the Esper Sentinel in the deck. I'm not sure if this is truly needed. I understand it's a really good card, and you do have a few swords in there, so it shouldn't be terribly difficult to get it to at least 2 or 3 power, but I'm not quite sure if it's good enough for what this deck wants to be doing, because with this deck, you can just fire off like a Cathartic Reunion, Faithless Looting, that sort of stuff, and just loot more. And that'll get you to, that puts things in the graveyard where you can pull them out and gets you the card draw. So, great card. I just don't know if it's entirely necessary for this deck. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon, link below.